Welcome back to the 100 Horror Films in 31 Days. I got in 4 films today on day 18. First up, I decided to revisit the old Brendan Fraser mummy movies. I hadn't seen these things in so long. I haven't seen them since they first came out. And, after watching the Tom Cruise movie, I thought, really, these, if I recall, were better. So I thought, well, I'll just check it out. So first up, The Mummy, 1999 with Brendan Fraser. When it first came out, I hated it. I thought it was just a CGI fest, and it just wasn't. To me, it wasn't. It didn't make a tribute to Gothic horror. It was an action film. And it really still is an action film. It's an action adventure film. It's kind of a variant of Raiders of the Lost Ark with a mummy. A lot of CGI. And still, I still feel the same way about those things. But having grown older, I'm actually more forgiving of a movie for what it is than I used to be. I was much more of a purist when I was younger and felt very attached to the Universal classics, and I felt like anything that did to reboot those films should respect them and do them in the same style and mode. This just doesn't do that. It's playing to a broader audience, and it's playing for that summer block. It's a money-making movie. It's not about honoring a genre. It's about making money, really. And it's they're fun. They're fun films, a lot of action. I think the CGI is still bad. I think the Mummy CGI is bad. But still, in all, I think it's a fun film. The first film was entertaining. Nothing great, but entertaining. So that was the Mummy. Then I moved on to some Canadian films. First up was an interesting film from Sander Stern, 1989's Pin. And this stars Terry O'Quinn, who I loved in The Stepfather. He was great in Stepfather. It's about a young 20-something. He and his sister have this human anatomy doll, basically, that they talk to, particularly the male in the movie. He is obsessed with this doll to the point where it's almost he's just nuts. He just everything he does is at the behest of this doll. He thinks the doll's talking to him, and we're led to believe that maybe it is true. But it's a psychological horror film that's I thought it was very good, very interesting. It's an interesting twist on the genre. Very much kind of like Magic, the Magic movie with Burgess Meredith and Anthony Hopkins rather. That kind of thing. I enjoyed it very much. I highly recommend Pin. If you haven't seen Pin, it's an excellent underrated horror film. This DVD has an audio commentary with the director, which I'm looking forward to listening to, because Stern really didn't do much. He was more of a scriptwriter than a director. So that's Pin. Now we get into the good stuff for the day. We got into the Shaw Brothers film. This is an 88 films release, their Asia collection. This is number 5, Seeding of the Ghost. Now, Seeding of the Ghost came out in 83, I believe, and it starts out, like the first half of it is a rape revenge, very vanilla storyline, rape revenge, and then you've got a ghost element to it. You've got the black magic witchcraft, which a lot of these Asian horror films that the Shaw Brothers put out, that's pretty common territory. But then things take a very sharp right turn for the last 40 minutes of the film, and it just goes batshit crazy. I don't want to ruin it, but what would you would think is just okay? It's a rape revenge film. It goes nuts. I mean, you get mummified corpses. You've got a lot of wild fighting, a lot of bloodletting, almost analogous to the Society movie. If you've seen Society, it's that kind of a crazy, gross out movie towards the end, and it's a wild thrill ride. I loved it to death, and I love a lot of the Shaw Brothers films, and this one is no exception. This '88 release is a dual Blu-ray DVD combo with some liner notes. Relatively small print, but you've got liner notes there. Yeah, this is a CD cinema from Hong Kong, and I would wholeheartedly agree. This is a crazy, crazy movie. Highly recommended. And then finally, another strange movie from Canada, and that's 1981's The Pit. This is a Kino Lorber release, and it has a kid named Sammy Snyders who plays this little preteen boy that's obsessed with sex. For his age, he's way too interested in sex and girls, and he's obsessed with his babysitter. If that's not enough, and he's just a strange kid, He has no friends. He doesn't know how to communicate. Very awkward. If that's not enough, though, he also has found this pit, and the pit has these troglodyte creatures in it that he's been feeding and keeping alive, and eventually he's takes to murdering off people that he perceives as enemies using these troglodyte creatures. Bizarre, interesting film. Lou, what is the director's name? Lou Lehman. I've never heard of him. He was born in 1933, but for someone that age at this point of his life to make this kind of a movie is interesting enough. But very, very strange movie. But a really good movie, excellent movie. I highly recommend it. It's got this Kino has an audio commentary by Paul Korup of cinemaexploitation.com, film historian Jason Pignosky. Interviews with it's got an interview with the star Sammy Snyders. I can't wait to see that. I thought he was great in this. I highly recommend The Pit if you haven't seen it. Okay, that wraps up my 4 films for October 18th, and I appreciate you watching. Thanks.